excited to be back with you today. It's Thursday. Oh my goodness. And maybe it's a different day of the week because you didn't listen on Thursday. So just good morning. Happy day. Excited to be with you and be connecting again. It's good to be back. I am super excited to share the Miracle Morning with you this morning. So my team and I, over the past couple of months, have been reading the Miracle Morning. And this month have been going over it together. And it's a book that I've known about and read. It's The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I've been reading and studying this book for the last probably 4 or 5 years or so. And it has a bunch of different versions. The Miracle Morning, you can find the Miracle Morning for real estate agents. You can find the Miracle Morning for teachers. You can find the Miracle Morning for several different career choices. And I'm going to share my perspective with you about the Miracle Morning, kind of in line with this idea where we started the year around our thoughts and the importance of monitoring and taking inventory of our thoughts and challenging the negative thoughts we're having, so that we can experience more grace and ease in our lives, so that we can experience the lives that the desires of our heart in our life, so that we can operate at our highest self, at our best, most highest self. So shall we dig in? So Hal Elrod, I often joke with my team and different people that I've never met Hal, and I just picture myself being his friend one day. He just seems like such a very genuinely nice, authentic person who has had this big, huge experience in his life that shifted and changed him and birthed out the Miracle Morning book, and also this foundation he created and different platforms he's now created. And there's a movie out about the Miracle Morning, and he just came out with another book, and bless, I'm not going to know, it's a miracle something. Go out and check out Hal Elrod. He just came out with a new book that I'm excited to read eventually. So Hal Elrod, my friend, back when he was in his young 20s, he was kind of at the top of his world. He felt like everything was going amazingly well. And he was top in his sales industry. He was in the sales industry and was on top of his industry and sales. And I think he was like 20 years old or something like that. Doing well, was in love with a girl, and they were pretty serious. And he's driving one day, and he's going like 70, 75 miles an hour, and he gets in a collision. And it's a very serious situation. He has multiple broken bones. I believe bones like popping out of his skin. He is passing in and out, and ultimately ends up going into a coma and has to go through rehab to like teach himself how to function again. And during this process, his girlfriend that he's in love with leaves him. And so as you can imagine, that can be an incredibly deflating and can be an experience that can make you feel like you just don't want to be here anymore. You just don't want to live anymore. The pain, I can imagine he was going through, the emotional pain of being at the top of his game in life and having to teach himself basics of life again, like walking and all that kind of stuff. And then the love of your life that you think is the love of your life leaves throughout this process, and how devastating all of that can be. And this dude, Hal Elrod, he shifts in his mind, this idea that, man, this can be a detrimental, life-altering, ending situation, like on the negative side, life-altering situation. And he chose to take what had happened and turn it into what he says is one of the best things that ever happened to him in his life. And he used it to create growth and shift and change and ultimately miracles in his lives and in the life of millions of other people, as he uses his story and his influence from his perspective, and he shares hope, and he shares a new way of thinking and a new way of being. And what if this situation is there to teach something to you and grow something in you and evolve your spirit and evolve your life into what God has really intended for you? Wow, this guy is super inspiring, and I'm excited to share with you more about him in this miracle morning today. So that's kind of where it begins. And I'm sure each one of us can think of a situation in our life. We know my story. I can think of that situation, going through that as a kid and going through all that I went through, and sometimes continue to go through as far as like mindset regarding all that those residual things that are still there, and the mindsets that we still hold and the thoughts we still hold because of this past circumstance and this past behavior. And how we're never stuck. Like, it doesn't matter how deep we find ourselves in something or how much pain there might be in a situation. We are never stuck. There's always something that we can do to shift our circumstances. Okay. And how can we use that to create the life we want? How exciting. And what a gift and blessing that we have that at our fingertips. Like, we have this ability, if you can just stand there or sit there and look at your feet. Let's just all stop for a moment and look at your feet. I'm going to look at mine and realize that if it was meant to be different, it would be different. If I was meant to be in a different spot in my life, I would be. And the fact remains that I'm here, seated in this chair, in this building, in this space in my life. And so if I was meant to be someplace else, I would be. If you were meant to be better in a different spot, with a different partner, with a different circumstance, with a different whatever, then you would be. And so using our current situation, like, okay, here I am. And so what is it? What is it that I can do to shift myself, to grow myself, to be that higher person, to grow my spirit, to grow my mindset, to grow my thought life? And he talks a lot about mindset. And so in this book, The Miracle Morning, he's basically talking about how what he did to really shift and change his life is, yes, he maintained this positive thought process that, what if this is for me, right? What if getting in a car accident that changed my life, changed the course of my life, what if it was for me? And so shifting from that victim, right? That, oh, this is happening to me, instead of it's happening for me. So then you shift into that creator. Remember last time we talked about the drama triangle, how we go from victim to creator, and from persecutor to challenger, and from rescuer or enabler to coach, right? So, and then he creates this morning routine, and that's what the book ultimately is about, which I'll shift into and go through the steps of the morning routine that he shares in his book. It's called The Savers, and we'll talk a little bit about this. It's just a process to help start our day, to have the most positive effect possible on our day and on the people that we interact in our life and on the circumstances that we find ourselves to be in. And with mindset, we talked last time about in any given day, the average person thinks between 50,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. This is something that I'm going to just really be honing in on and being so mindful about the thoughts that I hold. I hope you also do that. Holy cow, like, how exhausting to think about 50,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. We sleep 8 hours, I guess. So you're looking at, what is that? 16 hours a day of thoughts, 50,000 to 60,000 thoughts. Holy cow. So I mean, if we have choice and the ability to shift, wouldn't we want? Can you imagine the life you would have and the things you would have that you want to be experiencing if you just be more intentional about the thoughts that you are holding and just take inventory of them, not judge them as bad and wrong. That's the other piece here. Like, I'll talk for myself that when I find myself in a negative mindset, there's often times where I'm like, oh, dang, Jen, like, what the heck? We talked last time, like, could you get your shit together already? Like, what the heck? And there's just no long-term positive solutions that happen when we're in a judgmental state of mind, even when we're judging ourselves. So when we hold the situation like that in a judgmental way, we literally just keep ourselves stuck in that situation. We're not open, we are closed. The process is much more hard and difficult. It's like, I kind of have this imagery in my mind of like trudging through mud or like really sticky mud or like being sucked into like quicksand or something. That's the power of judgment. It just keeps us really stuck and sticky in that same process and situation. Whereas when we just evaluate the thought and don't offer any judgment at all, just more of a curiosity that says, isn't that interesting that here I am thinking these pretty negative thoughts. Would I like to experience something different? I mean, just as I say that, I feel much more lighter. I can breathe a little bit more deep. I feel way more open, and just the possibilities at my feet are much more, and I have more energy to do better in that situation. So don't judge it, just evaluate it, just out of curiosity, what's there, and would you like to experience something different? The other piece about this mindset is to understand that our past does not equal our future. Yes, we might have a story. There might have been some pretty serious situation that has happened in our past, and we can use that. We can use it to create, promote, and allow what we want to experience. We can use it as a perspective holding situation that allows us the grace and compassion to interact with people who may have also gone through a situation like that, to encourage and provide hope. And so, yes, there is purpose to all things that we go through. But to let go of what he calls the rear view mirror syndrome, where we're always looking in the past, where we're kind of victim to that past. Well, I can't do this because of this, and I can't do this because I went through that. And haven't you seen all that I went through? And so I just can't do it. Can't you see that I can't walk? So I just can't do it. It's that idea that what if you can walk again? What if, yes, you were victim to these things? What if you can experience something different? So to let go of our reflection of the past consistently in the current part of our life and residing more in the right now, residing in the present moment. There's so much power in the present moment. When we're thinking about our past or we're thinking about the future, remember, that's where anxiety is. Fear is in the past when we're looking in the past, or we're looking in the future. And so anxiety, fear really cannot reside when we're right now in the present moment. And what we went through in the past, and maybe how we've dealt with things in the past, or the circumstances or the people, holding those things, like when I'm thinking about a situation right now, is like my past created a lot of opportunity for me to practice fear, or how not to be in a fearful place. And I can find myself even right now in my life where I'll be out in the open, like out in public or something, and I'll find myself like really, I don't feel very safe. I'll begin evaluating the whole situation from a place of unsafety. And I am waiting for the predator. I'm waiting for the scary situation or the scary person or whatever. based off of situations that have happened in the past. So then I am a powerful creator, as we all are. And so that I'm creating situations that will eventually create a situation for me to be fearful in. Instead, my job is to experience that and to go, isn't that interesting? Remember, not to judge it as bad and wrong and what the heck, Jen, is going on, but to just get curious and go, isn't this interesting? Would I like to experience something different? Well, the answer is yes. And so then next time I find myself in a situation where I might feel fearful, just to be aware of that sensation. Oh, I feel it, where it's usually like in my belly where I'll feel fearful, or in my chest space, my heart space. And I'll begin to maybe evaluate that room just out of automatic habit. And then I can go, oh, I remember I was here before and I would like to experience something different. I would like to not experience situations where I'm creating more situations that are fearful. So here I am feeling this feeling. Okay, I would like to feel something different. And what would that something different be? Well, that something different would be openness and safety and friendliness and connection, like genuine loving connection and opportunity. And what else when I'm in that situation would like to experience? Like warmth, ease, grace, confidence, all those beautiful things. And then when I begin to focus on those things, just the mere focusing on those things begins to bring those up for me and in my life. I continue to practice that. It might be in that particular situation, I might just be working on it and maybe struggling, going back and forth from fear to acceptance, fear to open, close to open. But then eventually, as I continue allowing myself to be in uncomfortable situations, that's the other key, is then don't lock yourself up in your house and never go out anymore. The key is to continue practicing. So continue going out in the open and putting yourself in situations where you can feel it, that initial closing, and go, oh no, I'd like to stay open, and allow yourself to be open. It's very, very cool. I've practiced this. I'll tell you a quick story. I was in Ohio visiting my dad several years ago now, and I was feeling like I wanted to really practice this. So I went out to the mall in Ohio, and I was just really open and not fearful. And I went and walked into a store, and this young man is at the cash register, and his eyes and my eyes kind of meet, and I'm just shopping, doing my thing. And he stops me as I'm getting closer and closer to the register, and he goes, oh my goodness, who are you? And I just was sharing my name and kind of why I'm there in Ohio and what I'm doing there in his store. And he goes, oh my gosh, I just feel like I know you, but I know I don't know you. Can I just hug you? And we had this moment like where his spirit saw my spirit. We were both open, and we had this beautiful embrace and connection, just as two spiritual beings living this human existence. We saw each other. There was no fear, no wall I had built up. It was just me out in the open, and he was just him out in the open. And I want to experience much more of that, where we then, there's no like, Inspire Leadership Academy will talk about, Tracy will talk about like this idea that we are this divine spiritual being. And we, because of circumstances and scenarios in our life, cover ourselves up with clay, so that the very essence of who we are gets covered up in this clay, which is protection and things we put on as forms of protection. And then we're walking around in the world with all this clay on us, covering up our actual heart of who we are, because we're fearful. And then we don't ever really get to connect or grow at a very authentic and deep level. Well, when you begin to take off the clay, Well, that's when you get to see each other and really see who we are as divine spiritual beings living this human existence and realizing nobody is perfect. And yet we are all so perfect. And how much beauty is there to be had just in the everyday life of things. And that's really where this book just finds me in my space, is that we are all just doing the best we can with the tools and resources that we have. And what if we just take everything that happens to us, and what if we use that if it's for us and grow us and connect with each other? And wow, what if we can do that? So the next one is this idea that a lot of us with trauma, I think, struggle with. I've struggled with it. I have a couple of very dear and near friends who have had very traumatic childhoods, who struggle with this idea that I just need somebody to rescue me. And if somebody can just rescue me, if I can just meet the perfect person to marry, if I can just have good parents, if I can just have good siblings who love me, if I can just have the right friends or the right job or enough money, well, then I'm going to be fine. You know, we're looking for this rescuing so that we can be comfortable and safe. And that is the thing. Like, we seek out this comfort because we've been so uncomfortable for so long during a time of our childhood where we should be most comfortable, right? That's when we should be held the most comfortable, our needs met. And so when your needs are not met and you're very uncomfortable as a child, well, then you kind of have this, at least for me, have this habit and situation where I'm seeking out comfort. That's where addiction comes from. That's what any kind of numbing comes from. That's what people who can't leave their house, I want to say it's like agoraphobia or something like that. They're just wanting to be comfortable. People who overeat and gain weight, it's out of this comfort spot. So learning how to not be comfortable so that you can experience some grace and ease in your life and health and uplifting and openness and that kind of thing. And also the idea that no one's coming to rescue you, sweets. Nobody's coming. You got to rescue yourself. You got to do the work. You got to take what you've been given in your life and use it for the highest good of all concerned. Yes. The other thing that I'd like to mention about this book is that 95% of society settles for far less than they want because of that comfort, because of the fear, the mediocrity of life. These people will never live and never create the life that they really want. Oh my gosh, I see it. I've seen it in my dad. I've seen it in people that I love dearly. I see it in society as a whole. People who just kind of never, they leave this earth never having experienced what they want to have experienced. And they leave with a lot of regret. And so being that, let's not make it 95%. Let's lower that percentage and increase the percentage. That means only 5% of society actually experiences what they want. Only 5%. So let's increase that. Let us become creators of our lives and let go of victimhood. Let us create, promote, and allow the things that we want to experience. If you have a desire in your heart, it's because it's meant to be there. You would not have it if it was not meant to be worked on and not meant to be grown inside of you and in the world. We need you. And that's the other piece, is like, each of us need each other. What I got, somebody else doesn't got. And so what I got can fill somebody else, and what you got, I don't got. And so you can help fill something in me. And we are supposed to be this encourager of each other and loving each other and shining lights on each other. And kind of like if you ever watch the Care Bears, that's what's coming up in my spirit right now. Like in the Care Bears, when I was a little girl, remember watching the Care Bears, and they open their hearts just kind of beam, and that's their superpower, and it helps. And I don't remember what it did or anything like that, but that's kind of how I envision us, like when we're living in our highest self and when we're not covered up in all this clay and fear and judgment, when we're open to just who we are, and who each other is. Oh my goodness, the ability for us to beam off of each other is just so much greater. There's so much more power. It's where the miracles lie. So the miracle morning. So this idea of creating a morning routine, and that's really where my team and I laid our hats and really dug into. Anytime you want to grow as a leader or be a leader and create something new, the best way to do that is to start your day on the most positive position possible. And we all rise up, right? Whether your morning is in the evening or whatever, it's when your rising time is. So if you work nights or something, this would be when you're rising up to start your day. Okay, so it doesn't have to be in the morning. I just want to clarify that. And to create a situation where the energy you're creating through doing your miracle morning is going to then pour into every other situation of your day and just create much more grace and ease in this situation that we were talking about, just being more open. And so how he does this is through what he calls the savers. Excuse me. And so every morning he starts his day with the savers. They all stand for something. So the S stands for silence. So he wants you to spend, you can spend any amount of time. You can start with just 1 minute, each one of these. You can do 10 minutes, each one of these. You can build yourself up. You can start with 60 minutes, each one of these. Whatever you think is going to work, however much time you have. And it can shift and change as well. So the S starts for silence. That's meditation. That's prayer. That's basically just coming home to yourself, taking that time, doing some deep breathing, whatever it is to help you come and center yourself inside of yourself. For me, it will be a moment, a minute or two of deep breathing. I love to spend 10 or 20 minutes on each one of these savers. So a minute or two, 10 minutes, 20 minutes of deep breathing. I'll maybe put on a meditation. I'll do some prayer and just be with myself and feel what it feels like to be inside of my body. Evaluate my body, do like a head to toe, just body scan, following my breath inside of my body, letting the breath go deeper inside of my body, filling my lungs and my blood up with energy-rich oxygen to help me start my day with as much energy as possible. So we'll do that. Then we're going to move into A, which is for affirmations. That we're going to spend a minute, 10 minutes, 60 minutes on affirming ourselves and affirming the day, speaking out of our mouth that which is not as though that it is. Okay, so I talk a lot about this in this podcast, that it is so important the thoughts we hold, and it is so important the words that we speak. So very intentionally speaking those things that are not as though they are over your life and over the lives of your loved ones. That's what affirming is. So taking that time to say, I am living my healthiest life possible. I am full of energy and vitality. I am experiencing grace and ease in my business. I am abundantly wealthy and able to give abundantly in my life. I am healthy and at my optimal health for my height and my age. I am feeling radiant and glowing and confident in my body and in my skin. I am, and whatever I am is for you, and speaking it right now as though that it is. So this is not like I want to be, I am going to be. It is as if I'm experiencing it right now and speaking those things over your life. The next one of our savers is V, which is for visualization. So we've talked about this in the podcast before, how powerful when we visualize those things in our life as though they are, how then we're creating that to be the case in our life. So an example of this for me is like, I've got a talk coming up and I get really bad stage fright. Or in my past, I have experienced really bad stage fright where I'll like shake like a leaf. My voice is then shaken like a leaf. Sometimes I even like burst out in tears right at the beginning. I'm not quite sure what that's about. It hasn't happened very often lately. Now that I think about it, actually, how exciting. But I used to judge that as really bad and wrong. And then finally I was working with the person who invites me to come speak. And I was like, this might happen. And she's like, hey, just let it be. And when I decided to just let it be, it went away. I just stopped bursting out in tears, crying. So that's that judgment. Stop judging it and just letting be what's there. What if me bursting out in tears at the beginning of a talk is there to show somebody else something for them and grow something in them and to help them? Maybe they too have burst out in tears and maybe they're judging themselves so deeply for it. And then they see me do it and they're like, oh, I no longer have to judge myself because I see her doing it. And if she can do it, I can do it. And if she's okay, I'm okay. Right? What if we're just walking each other home? What if we're just guiding each other? What if we're really providing each other just this hope and grace and uplifting? And so just letting it be. So this idea of visualization around that is sometimes what I used to do when I'm going into a talk is I would just be like, oh my gosh, I'm so fearful. And what if my clothes aren't right? And my hair? And what if this isn't right? And oh my gosh, I'm a little stuffy and I don't want to sound really nasally. And so, oh my gosh, and what if this person is there? That's going to be really uncomfortable. Well, that is just going to get me in situations that are very closed. I'm going to be not having a lot of grace and ease in that situation. And I'm going to be struggling. Instead, when I take this and I go, okay, well, what do I want to experience? And we tend to, as humans in our society, focus on what we don't want. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want these things. So focusing on what we do want, instead, that looks like I'm getting ready for a talk. Well, I am going to experience so much confidence and grace, and my voice is going to be slow and steady, and my body's going to be really steady. And I'm going to look out into the audience and see people who love and respect me. And I'm going to even see some smiles and encouragement and head nodding and some affirming of behavior that I'm on track. And all the electronic things that need to function are going to function with such grace and ease. And it's going to be beautiful. And it's going to change my life, and it's going to change other people's lives too. And I'm going to remember what I have to say with grace and ease. It's not going to be tough or scary. It's going to be exciting. And so spending some time visualizing what it is you want to experience. It can be as basic as this morning as I'm getting ready, I just want things to go graceful. My children, as I'm getting them ready, they're going to be awesome. I see them just doing what I'm asking them to do, putting their clothes on, getting ready for breakfast, eating, not playing around, not fussing with each other, just getting ready. We're getting to school on time and all that stuff. Okay. So visualization. The next one, you've got savers. So we've done the S, the A, the V, the E is exercise. So spending some time, a minute of stretching, 10 minutes of walking, 60 minutes of whatever, a combination of things. But every day in the morning, or when it's your morning, taking some time for some movement. It can look like a whole lot of things, but move that body, get the blood flowing. Okay. So we have exercise. We have R is next. R is for reading. So taking some time to read something. So this for me is like, I'll take some time and read a couple scripture, or I'll read a positive morning book, or I'll read a prayer book, or I'll read a portion of a book that I'm reading right now. But something that's not social media, something that you actually have to crack open a book, or you have to listen to on an Audible or something like that, just to get that kind of energy flowing of knowledge and gaining knowledge and growing your brain and working your brain and all that kind of stuff, getting that done. And then the last one's for scribing. The last S is scribing, so journaling. So taking some time to write down. I like to take some time to write down my gratitude. I'll write down what I'm grateful for. I'll move into writing down what I want to experience in this day. So how do I want to be? How do I want to feel? And what do I want to create? Or what do I want to do? So I'll write down my gratitude. How do I want to be? What do I want to create? And how do I want to feel? And so take some time, whatever that looks like for you. You can journal a success journal. I oftentimes say, like, do your success journal at the end of the day, write down all your successes for the day. But if you've never done this, you can start in the morning by writing your successes for your whole life. Start when you're a baby. What things have you succeeded in? I mean, we've all been potty trained, right? We've all learned how to walk mostly. We've all learned how to brush our own hair. We all learned how to wipe our booties. We all learned how to write the alphabet, learn the alphabet, read a book, write. All that kind of stuff, like that basic level thing, raises your vibration, raises your confidence, raises your ability to see then all the things that you are doing right instead of focusing on the things you're not doing right. Okay. And so there you have it. You have your savers. So take some time during your morning time to begin to create, promote, and allow a morning routine that's going to then you do that in one morning. And oh my gosh, when I do a miracle morning, the rest of my day is so much more graceful and easy. I'm much more positive. I'm feeling more confident because I've succeeded. Even if I just do a 6-minute miracle morning, I have succeeded. It's like making your bed in the morning. I would highly recommend that when you wake up in the morning that you make your bed. Just that little bit of success in the morning, of accomplishment in the morning, just carries you much more throughout the day, and you experience a much more positive day. So some of us, for me, I used to never be a morning person. I would call myself a night owl, and I would resist and remove myself from the ability to have a morning routine because I was just really staunchy stuck on this idea that I was a night owl. That's where I was most creative, yada, yada. Well, I would be waking up late. I'd be rushing in the mornings to work. I wouldn't be as productive at work. I would not eat breakfast. I maybe will just live off coffee until 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I didn't set myself up for success. And yes, I've had this alone time and stuff at night and whatever creativity that I wanted to create as a night owl, but now I'm suffering and my whole day is low because I didn't create, promote, and allow the time that I needed to be most successful. And my husband, on the other hand, has always been a night owl. I think a morning person. And so I think it's kind of started from the dude's worked since he was like 14. His parents, his mom put him to work at the military installation they worked on. His dad was in the Army, and so very kind of strict about, you got to work, you got to earn some money. So John's been waking up early since he was about 14 years old. Then he went into the military himself. And as I'm sure we kind of all know, the military makes you wake up really early. There's no real comfort there. They're kind of breaking you to make you kind of situation when you're in boot camp and stuff. So you learn, most military members learn to wake up early and kind of naturally then have a morning or early morning start. Well, when John and I were married for years, he'd be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd be sleeping till 9 or 10 in the morning, especially on the weekends. If I can squeeze in an hour or two extra, awesome. And I would be pretty staunchy about it. I like my sleep. Don't bug me. I need my sleep kind of situation. Well, I'd say maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago or so, I got this idea oh man, I really want to be like that. I want to wake up early, and John would accomplish so much more and be much more positive and stuff. And that I found myself to be. And I always felt like I was playing catch up all day long and stuff, where he's just accomplishing all this stuff. And so I set my intention to be a morning person, and it took me a while to kind of develop this inside of me and decide that I liked it, because I was kind of I was kind of in, oh gosh, what's the word? In resistance to it as I began to first do it. But now I wake up 4:30, 5 o'clock without an alarm every single morning. To get to this point, I had to do little things, which I'll talk to you about, like to get myself to get up. And now it's just a habit. And for the last couple of years, that's how life has been. I wake up at 4:45, 5 o'clock on the dot almost every single morning. And I'm not tired. I don't feel stressed out. It just is what it is. And I have long, productive days. And I've done a lot more in my professional life since taking on this idea of having a morning routine, and waking up early in the mornings is important. I've heard successful people say that if you're going to be successful, it's going to start with you waking up early, like 5 a.m. So anyway, I'm not judging people who are successful and don't wake up early. That's not what I'm doing. So, use it how you want to use it. So if you need some help beginning this practice of waking up early in the morning, you want to do things. First, you want to read his book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Okay. It's a very short read. My dog ripped off the front cover, but it's a very, very short read. You can get it done in just a couple days. So read the book, listen to the Audible. Then you want to set your intention that this is what you'd like to do. And so you want to do things like set out your workout clothes the night before. Have a glass of water there for you to drink when you first wake up. Have all your things ready for you. If you need to, I know I used to be like a serial pauser of the alarm, snoozer, that serial snoozer. So I'd snooze myself till I would just fall back asleep and never hear my alarm again. So if that's you, I hear you. Set your alarm across the room so that you actually have to get up and turn it off, so that it's not comfortable and easy for you to do. So you can do those kinds of things strategically to help yourself get up. Then when you get up, go immediately and brush your teeth, wash your face, and drink the glass of water. That's going to help just get your body flowing and get everything engaged and ready for what you're getting ready to do to it. Remember, your body is going to be adverse to anything that doesn't make you comfortable. When we get into our comfort zone, well, our body and our ego is like, hold a second, what are you doing? I don't like to get up early. I want to go to sleep. So just be aware of that ego is there to keep us safe. And you'd like to be uncomfortable because you're trying to create something new for your life. So just say, thanks, ego. I see you. I'm good. I'm growing this in myself, and we're good. I'm going to stay awake. We're going to do this thing. So just trust that and know that that's coming, and just be okay with that being there. Don't get frustrated with it, that kind of thing. And I'll just leave you with to create what you want to create, and to be that 5% that lives their life on purpose and gets to experience all their heart's desire and all the things that are in them to experience. Live on purpose. Live as though you have a purpose. You do. Every single one of us do have a purpose. So find what that purpose is. We'll do some work on that during this podcast this year. And then walk in that purpose and do things that are going to help illuminate and grow that purpose inside of you and in the world. Remember, we've talked about this before. How you do anything is how you do everything. And I heard Hal talk about that in the book this time too. So just remember that ego wants to keep us safe. And so how you've done things, how you do something is how you do everything. And so just monitor yourself and be mindful without judgment. Isn't that interesting? Here I am again. Would I like to experience something different? Yes. The last thing I'll say, which I'll leave you with, is that our subconscious brain is working all night long. So those 50 to 60,000 thoughts are also happening in our subconscious brain as we sleep at night. So even though we're not aware of them, they are processing and happening. Our brain is a moving, functioning muscle. It's doing a lot of work for us. So to help yourself with some grace and ease in your life, set your intention and focus on what you want the night before. So this means putting away your screens about an hour before you're actually going to go to sleep and attempt to go to sleep. You want to allow your body to settle and your mind to settle so that your body will allow that REM sleep to engage faster so that you can have more deep and restful sleep. So that's why we remove our screens. Also, removing the screens allow you to focus on you instead of what's out there in social media land or what so-and-so's doing here and all this different kind of stuff, or just the numbing of that you don't want to feel and know and evaluate what your thoughts are. So you're just going to numb them through scrolling through social. So put your screen away, be in bed, and then do some nighttime intention setting. This can be writing in a journal, or this can just be meditating on it in your own mind. I experience like setting my intention. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do my miracle morning, and it's going to be graceful and easy. And this is how I like to sleep tonight. And I'm excited to have restful, deep sleep and good, beautiful dreams. And I'm going to wake up and I'm going to drink my water and brush my teeth and wash my face. And it's going to feel good and refreshing and light and graceful and easy. And then as we go to sleep, thinking and meditating on those things, our subconscious brain is then also helping us create, promote, allow those positive, beautiful things in our life, helps us do the work. So set your intentions, and this can be with any situation. If you've got situations or if you're looking at creating something different in your life, set your intentions in the evening and let your subconscious brain do the majority of that work for you. And just see what happens. What if? What if? If we're going to what if, let's what if something positive, right? What if we choose to do this? And what if it changes everything? So my friends, thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I am excited to be here again with you. Check out my friend Hal Elrod's book, The Miracle Morning. Check out all the things he has to share with you. There is a group like a Miracle Morning, the Miracle Morning, like people. So go out, Google The Miracle Morning and see all the resources and tools that are out there for you. Check out his Facebook, Instagram, all the things. I am excited to just be here and share with you. I pray that you guys are doing amazing. And if you're not, that it's for you, that it's here for you, and that you invite that in without judgment to see what it's there to do in you and through you. I pray your day is blessed and your upcoming week is blessed. John and I are getting ready to head out to Vegas. We're going to be in Vegas the next few days, attending a Tom Ferry real estate elite retreat, getting filled up with some real estate knowledge and connections and networking ourselves, and also just some time for him and I to be together and kind of get away and clear our minds and create some intentions for ourselves and our relationship and our business and things. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to come back really filled up and to share with you again next week. I hope you have a wonderfully blessed day. And until